Hi everyone, my name is Rebecca Clem, and I'm going to be walking us through some sticky Git situations today and showing you how to get out of them. I'm going to start with the dreaded merge conflict. We've all seen this one, and we usually work through it by simply going through the file and figuring out which lines to keep and which lines to get rid of, right? Well, there are several tools that provide a much nicer interface, and I'm going to walk you through one I like called MELD. The second Oh ShGit moment that I'll cover is the oops, I forgot moment. And sometimes that's oops, I forgot to create a new branch and I've been doing all of my work on master. And sometimes it's oops, I just committed but I forgot to make that one little change before I committed and I really wish I could go back and do that. Whichever it is, I will show you how to fix that. And lastly, I'll cover my favorite Oh ShGit moment, the hold my beer, watch this moment. I assume you're all familiar with this one. It's where you're working on your app and everything is going great, and then you're like, you know what? This could be even better if I do this one thing that I read about on this really obscure tech blog, and I bet this will go really well for me. And we know how that turns out. So I'll show you how to get out of that sticky situation as well. So let's start with merge conflicts. Good old merge conflicts. As I'm sure you're painfully aware, Git doesn't have a nice user interface for merge conflicts. It just screws up your file with all these arrows and dashes and leaves you to sort it out. So hopefully you all know the stuff between the top arrows and the dashes, that's what you changed on your branch. The stuff between the dashes and the bottom arrows, that's what was changed on master since you last pulled down. And it's your job to figure out what needs to stay and what needs to go. But it's simple in an example like this, pretty clear. But oftentimes this can get really messy, and a user interface can come in really handy in those times. So there are several tools out there. The one I really like is called MELD for a couple reasons. It's free, it has a nice interface, and it works well with Git. So when you first open it up, you'll want to choose version control view, and then you'll navigate to the place that holds your app, and you click compare. That'll bring up this screen, and it'll have the file that has your merge conflict in it. You double click on that, and that takes you to this, which is really the main place where you'll be working on your merged file. You can see over there on the right is your remote, and on the left, or in your way, the left is the remote, and the right is your local changes, and in the middle is your merged file. You just use the arrows and the X's to add and remove from the merged file until the merged file looks the way you want it to look, and then you click save. And when you go back into your terminal, now you'll have the nicely merged file all ready to send off to Git. Makes it much easier. Okay, on to our second Oh ShGit moment, the I forgot to create a new branch moment. So this is when you've been working, you forget to create a new branch, and you've been doing all of your work on master. The first thing you need to ask is, did you commit yet? If you didn't commit, this is super simple. You can just git check out a new branch and keep working. No big deal. It's like it never even happened. If you did commit, it's a little more complicated, still pretty simple. In this case, you'll git branch. So you don't want to check out. At this point, you just want to create the new branch, but don't switch to it. So at this point, you've got your new branch, and you've got your master branch, and they're both pointing to the exact same place that have your changes that you want to keep. And you want those changes to stay on your new branch, but you really wish you could rewind your master branch back to the place where you last pulled down from your repo, right? So you want to keep your changes in your branch, but you want your master to back up. In that case, you stay on master, which is again why you did the git branch and not the git checkout. So while you're on master, you git reset, and the -- hard flag means that the stage snapshot and the working directory are both updated to match your specified commit, which in this case is the last time you pulled down. So you're still on master at this point. Now you've reset back in time, but your changes are still waiting for you on your new branch. So you switch over to your new branch, and you keep working, and you're good to go. All right, what about those times when you forget to make a change before you commit? So you finish up a new feature, you add the file to the staging area, you commit it, and then you're like, there was that one thing, it's a tiny little change, it doesn't deserve its own commit, but what choices do I have? In that case, again, no problem. You just pretend like your trigger happy commit didn't happen at all. You go back, you make that little change, but now when you commit, you add an amend flag. And that amend flag will replace your trigger happy commit with this new commit that has all of your changes in it. So now you've just got one commit exactly as you wish it had happened. All right, the last Oh ShGit moment we'll cover is the hold my beer, watch this moment. You tried something you regret, and now you want to discard those changes and return to a previous state. So you were on master, you created a new branch, you did some good work, and then you go on your boondoggle, right? Well, the first thing I'll point out is if you had created a new branch before you went on your boondoggle, you could just delete that new branch and you wouldn't have any problem at all. But of course, if you know you're going on a boondoggle before you go on this boondoggle, then I hope that's your tech talk, because I need to learn how to identify those moments. I'm usually stuck in a situation like this, where I'm on my same branch, I've done a boondoggle, and I want to go back in time. So your way ahead here is going to depend on how far you got down this boondoggle road. Did you just save it? Did you commit it? Did you actually push it? So we'll step through those one at a time. If you only made local saves, so you were working on your branch, good commit, boondoggle, but you've only been control or command S-ing, right? You haven't even committed anything. In that case, no problem, reset. That reset command, pretty useful, right? But you lose your local saves. They're not saved anywhere, they're completely gone, but at least now your working directory is back where you wish it was. Now, what about if you made commits? In this case, you've got two options. So you'll notice this slide is tagged as bad commit option 1. So the first thing you need to do is figure out the SHA of your last good commit. And hopefully everyone knows that each commit has a unique SHA value. To get that SHA value, you just git log. That gets you that string of letters and numbers that you can use to reference your last good commit. Then once you have that, in this slide, since this is option 1, we're going to reset again, just like we have in previous slides. And again, that's going to lose that dangling commit. It doesn't go away immediately, but when the git garbage collector comes around, it is going to be deleted. So make sure that you're OK with losing all of your boondoggle work. That will just reset you back to your last good commit. Now, what about if you don't want to lose that work? What if you think, I think this was a boondoggle, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe I want to go back to that at some point, which is usually a good choice, actually, to keep all of your work. It doesn't hurt. In that case, you want to use git revert with the SHA at the end. Git revert adds a new commit onto the end of your chain, and it undoes all of the changes that were done in your bad commit. So your revert commit looks exactly the same as the good commit before your boondoggle, but your boondoggle is still there in case you ever want to go back to it. Something to be aware of with this, though, is that revert has the potential to overwrite files in the working directory. So if you were working on you sent off a bad commit, and then you keep working, and you're command S-ing, but you aren't actually doing another commit, but you've got stuff in your working directory then, if you revert the commit, you'll get a warning comes up that says, you've got to commit here before you can move on. In that case, no problem, just add another bad commit in your chain, and then revert back to using that SHA to get back to your good commit. But you will get that warning, so it's something to be aware of. Now, the last scenario is what do you do if you not only committed, but you also pushed? So you've got that bad commit, and you've got a bad push now. In that case, you just revert the commit, same way you did before, which we just learned tacks on a new clean commit to the end of your chain. You push that up, and you're good to go. So hopefully this has been useful for you, and although Git is probably never going to be fun, at least now you have a few more tools to help you deal with some of those common Oh ShGit moments. Thank you.